Today is Saturday, November 30th, 2019. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Island of the Idols Week 10.
All right, big holiday weekend here in the States, but in spite of that, 19 superfans found some time to contribute to the listener feedback show this week. We're excited to hear what they thought about this last episode, what they think what we just saw may mean for the game going forward, and any predictions they may want to share with regards to who's going next. Always welcome. It was great.
Good job, everybody.
Great last listener feedback show. Pointed me right in the direction of full points, so I deeply appreciate that. Looking for more of the same. And
thanks for trying.
Didn't quite work out that way for Joanne.
Didn't work so good for me.
She has... Sometimes she's listening to the beat of her own drummer. She misses out on the bigger message.
In Joanne world.
Oh, you're drawing parallels, huh, to the cast this season.
Oh.
Anything we need to say? Anything else before we get going?
I don't believe so.
All right, first up, got that call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Wow, this episode and this season has been insane. So I'm going to let out a great big woo! Now this is for Elizabeth. You ready, guys? Na 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 na. Hey. Goodbye. You're not Queen Elizabeth of England, that's for sure. And now you can join your friends Aaron and Missy in Ponderosa. Curious to see if she's going to be bitter too. But this was an awesome episode, guys. Lauren going to Island of Idols, and she learns a lesson from Rob and Sandra. She somehow got all those people to get into the temptation of pancakes and bacon on that immunity challenge there. And I can't believe Karishma wanted to play in the challenge, as did, of course, Elizabeth and Nora, which Nora took. But wow, that was crazy. And I honestly thought, guys, the way the edit was going, I thought it was going to flip-flop to Dan. And you heard Karishma say to Elizabeth, Dan thinks he's in charge, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Or was it going to be Janet? I really thought it was Dan. So as you would say, Stacy, the edit had me, and I'm sure had a lot of people completely buffaloed. And I didn't see that coming. But wow, Karishma, she plays her idol. She finally makes a move. I guess I'll give her a little bit of credit there. She had a good read on the situation. And then I think that impressed the jury a little bit. Look at Missy and them. And Aaron could not believe it. And she had to play it. She did it right. And it ended up being a split between Elizabeth and Janet. But I knew when the re-vote happened, even though I was sort of worried for Janet, but I knew bye-bye Elizabeth, because they had said she was a physical threat, and Janet wasn't really the target. But I'm curious, guys, who voted for Janet there now? Because I was fooled by the edit. It must have been Elizabeth there. I'm going to have to see to make sure. But wow, that was crazy, guys. And now we'll see, and a solid episode for Lauren, working it with Tommy. Now, I still can't believe Tommy wasn't the target. You know, I think right now, I still think he's the biggest threat to win right now. But we'll see. Dean is in La La Land. He is no more a goat than Karishma and Nora are. Dean. Oh my goodness. He's comic relief. And Dan is Dan. This is a great episode, guys. Next week, the loved ones should be great. And I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you guys and everyone else. Take care. Whoa.
All right. Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, we still don't know. There's no indication of for sure.
No, there was an interesting post on the Survivor subreddit where someone had gone back and compared handwriting and it looked like they may have had that figured out in terms of who voted for Janet and who voted for Elizabeth.
Who did they think it was?
For Janet, I believe it was Elizabeth, because the handwriting matched both times, and it was Dan who voted for Elizabeth, who secured that tie vote so that they finally got Elizabeth out. He was the one that wasn't voting for Karishma that time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it got written up that way in the wiki too. So I guess that's a reasonable enough reason. We were hoping we would get some more clues in the extra videos, and someone's just not really thinking when they show us the last vote. It's like, yeah, we didn't need to see that one. We don't need to see all the who voted for taking Elizabeth out there when it was a tie between her and Janet. We needed the one before. Well, that's just how it goes sometimes. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Boston. I thought this was a good episode this week. I definitely agree. It was probably the most predictable episode, at least in terms of outcome, maybe all season. And in JSFL, I didn't have Elizabeth safe, but I actively chose to not make her my vote-off point because I was kind of envisioning the rest of the cast thinking that because she was alone, that they could get rid of her anytime and to focus their efforts on someone else that they perceived to be a bigger threat at that time. I had Lauren going. I don't know. I think that might have come up in the recap from last week, and I just had a gut feeling about her, and I was like, you know what, why not? There's been so many completely out of the blue votes, and I could have not been more wrong. She was the star of the episode, and it really showcased her strong social game and relationships with her tribe mates, not only her perceptions of them, but their perceptions of themselves within the context of the game and where it is at currently. And I thought she did great, and I would love to see her win. Kind of bummed that she wasted her idol, and I hope that she doesn't need that in the next tribal council, but better safe than sorry. Karishma definitely played by that rule, and it helped her out immensely. One thing I was thinking about when watching this episode was that I don't love Tommy. I don't dislike Tommy. I am just kind of neutral about him. I don't find him to be a great player. I don't think he's bad either. He's just kind of average. And I don't really understand the hype around Tommy that I've been hearing both in the podcast and sort of gathering through the edit of the show. I feel like he's being edited as a winner right now, or as a potential winner, and I don't love it, to be honest. I would be kind of disappointed if after a season of such strong women, both athletically, strategically, and socially, if a man just gets through and wins. But if he makes it to the end and plays his cards right, and he gets there, and people will vote for him based on the strong relationships that he made, then he wins, and that's that. It would just kind of be a little bit of a bummer that the season was, like, so great for the women on the show, and then it kind of just, like, has been crumbling slowly. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, curious what other people's takes on Tommy are and the episode as a whole. For those that celebrate, I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I look forward to hearing the feedback show this week. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Christiana. I think Christiana was telling us that she predicted that Lauren would go, even though it was a very predictable episode. I just want to get that little dig in there for her. And I agree that
shaking my head, Eddie.
Tommy's there because the women who are making the moves and calling the shots have decided to leave Tommy in there. Now, that could be a credit to Tommy's ability and the social connections he made with them, but it's not because of any direct doing on his part.
He's a lot more neutral than I thought he was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I thought people were centering around him, but I don't know. I don't know if they're not showing us moves he's making, and they'll show something later.
He took credit for the Missy takedown, but it didn't really seem like it was him from what we got to see.
Well, it was brought to him, and he was like, yeah, I'll make the decision. Let's do it.
It was brought to him with Elaine saying, I'm not going to let you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's there by the good graces of these other ladies who are actually controlling and calling
agree.
the shots. But
he wouldn't be my first
there's lots
choice.
of people who are pro-Tommy, like Pete was talking about, that believe that he's the winner.
Could be.
Yeah, possibly. All right, thanks, Christiana. Next up, we got an email from Nathan in Portsmouth, Virginia. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be back after a 2-week hiatus. Here are a few thoughts I had while watching this week's episode. I guess Lauren is no longer purple. I know she had some screen time, but she is the one I always seem to forget about while watching this season. She did a good job at the Island of the Idols. It was interesting hearing her share her take on each person's chance of winning immunity. I also appreciate how she and Tommy worked together to help ensure her prediction came true. I was also impressed with Dean's move to make a fake legacy advantage in order to keep what he thinks and hopes is a real legacy advantage. The fact that the original legacy advantage is fake diminishes this move, but I appreciate his effort to keep the original legacy advantage while making everyone else think it is gone. It's a solid move on his part and shows that he's trying to play the game. Yeah. Poor Karishma. I felt kind of bad for her this whole season. It seems like she's trying to figure out who she is and what she's going to do in real life, and now she's thrown in this very tough game of Survivor where she's deprived of sleep and food. I hope this experience somehow helps her figure out things beyond the game. Speaking of Karishma, is there any chance she wins the game? I keep saying no way, but they've been showing her gameplay in the latest episode, so perhaps they're setting us up for a conquering type story. I wouldn't bet on it, but this season's so weird that I wouldn't write off any possibility. I'm really not sure who will take the title this season. Lauren had a good episode, but I can't imagine she would have been so much in the background in the previous episodes if she was the winner. In the same manner, we haven't seen much of Elaine's or Janet's gameplay, so that leaves Tommy and Nora because I don't see a path for Dean either. Perhaps it's wrong of me to say, but I hope Nora doesn't win. She seems nice, but I deal with, for lack of a better term, crazy people at both my jobs, and I really don't want to watch more of it on TV. Forgive me if I'm being rude. That's all for this week. I'm happy to be back to the podcast, and I look forward to hearing the thoughts of everyone else. Have a great week. All right, thanks, Nathan. Totally understand that. Yeah, I really don't think Karishma's got the social capital to win. And she would have to do make many magnificent moves to overcome the deep hole that she's dug and came into. And it goes back to the beginning when we found out that she was there for the experience kind of story. That's just no place to be with what she's going through in her life. She made a huge mistake coming out there to begin with.
I would say Karishma would be third place out of Dan, Nora, and herself.
Yeah, given what they've said and shown about how she's perceived, that would seem to be the case. Now, that's a way that people like Aaron, Missy, and Elizabeth, that by throwing votes her way, can hide their bitterness under that. They can say, oh, we were on the tribe together. No, we didn't recognize how good she was playing. So you could get surprised by some things there, but I don't think the other folks are going to go for it at all. So it seems unlikely. In the end, there's going to be too many voci on there, or people who had something against the old Lyro, so that that kind of original tribe allegiance thing would be a big factor, I think.
Well, so many of them seem to think she's been carried too far already. That's why they keep targeting her. It's like she keeps, getting a pass.
Yeah. And this, what we are getting to see by the benefit of the edit and the fact that she made solid moves, you can't take that away from her. This was the way to play the idol that she had, even though she might never have gotten it if Nora hadn't given her a kick in the butt to go get coconuts, which could be a counter argument to anything that she would propose, even though she's a lawyer and you think she's going to be able to speak well if she were to end up in the final tribal council there. I don't think she can overcome, like I said, she's in a deep hole from the social perspective of the game. It just seems completely unlikely.
No, and she would cry and go into, I think, sounding more like self-pity or something.
I was bullied.
And people would go, no.
Yeah, they're not, because they weren't buying any of that. There's so much of the game that she just still doesn't understand or get. It's not going to happen, I don't think.
Well, at least that's our perception of what we've been shown.
Yeah, given the small slice of it that we get to see.
Very small.
Thanks again, Nathan. Next up, we got a call from Eliza.
Ooh, ladies, that was an episode for them. Dang, I'm so happy Elizabeth got voted out. I need somebody that knows how to make gifts do one of the moment that Lauren flipped her hair after she sat back down and said, I'm not getting voted out tonight. I need that in my life, that gift so much. So if anybody has that talent, I'd love it. Post it, tag me in it. I want it. Thank you. That was good. Happy Thanksgiving. I think Lauren or Tommy is going to get a big head at some point and get voted out. I'd love to see Lauren win, which I didn't expect at the beginning of the season, and I'm totally stoked. I think Janet is going to have a breakdown after that. There's going to be so many breakdowns after that tribal council. It seems ridiculous. Woo! Because Christmas saw, like, everybody hated her and was going to vote her out again. It's just crazy. Like, this girl's got 9 lives. What is going on? So who's going to go next week? Oh, man, I just called you. I should have thought about this. I also want to apologize to Stacy for leaving, like, 7 minutes in my phone call last. And you did a good job cutting it down, and I know that cost you, like, 30 minutes of work, and I'm super sorry. It was very emotional, and I'm sure everybody else did the same thing, so I'm very sorry. Oh, man.
Understood.
And so I don't want to drag this one out. I'm just going to say, I don't know. This is Eliza from Lexington. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Eliza. Don't worry about it. We managed all that, and there was a lot of great things that need to be said, so it all worked out the way it was supposed to. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my survivor friends. As Pete would say, na 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 na, na 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 na, na 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 na. Lying Lizzie's gone home and I've got 5 points. Yay! I had a great time this week and I'm so happy to see Karishma pay her idol just correctly. I think it's after Kelly Wentworth we've seen such an impactful play of the idol. So I'm super busy, but I still had to ring in and just do my na 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 na. Really happy. Can't wait for the next episode. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Rashmi. Glad you enjoyed that and you called in to share with us. Next up, we got an email from Barbara in Long Island.
Well, I, for one, was glad that Elaine wasn't killed slowly and methodically by Elizabeth. How would she have done it anyway? Put her in a huge cauldron of water and gradually add logs to the fire? So now the entire crew involved in the nightmare of 2 weeks ago is gone, except for Mr. Touchy-Feely himself. Oh, and Janet, of course, my new USB. Next time is family visit. I had a strange vision of Karishma's husband skipping out, picking petals off daisies, singing, "She loves me not, she loves me." Oh, Dean, I can't wait for him to proudly play the real fake advantage when there are 6 players left. Well, I hope everyone in the States had a nice holiday and good naps. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor superfans. All right, thanks, Barbara. Up next, we have a call from Kyle.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor fans at home. This is Kyle calling from Calgary, Canada, with some in-the-car feedback for this week's episode of Survivor. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode, pretty entertaining right up to the end, so that was fun. I'm going to make a bold prediction that I think Tommy and Lauren will be in the final. I'm not sure who's going to be joining them. I'm hoping it's Elaine and not one of the other ones, but there has to be a goat in there somewhere. The reason why I say that is just due primarily to the edit this week. Having Tommy and Lauren featured so heavily in an episode where it really had no bearing on their gameplay or on the final tribal, I thought was sort of interesting. They went through all that work to ensure that Lauren had an idol, and she burns it at a tribal. I mean, I don't blame her for burning it. I would be kind of scared as well. I mean, there's been a few people who have gone home with an idol in their pocket, so I certainly would not have thought twice about playing it. But I just thought it was sort of interesting that all of that time in the episode devoted to trying to get that idol and all for naught. Whereas Karishma, somebody like Karishma who had a pretty big game, very little was sort of devoted to her in comparison, and she actually made a great move with the idol and subsequently extended her time on the island, which I thought was pretty. Outside of that, I'm actually enjoying Nora's gameplay. She really is an agent of chaos, though. I wouldn't be surprised if it was planned by production to try to trip up the game a little bit, as she seems to just be all over the map. Sometimes she's clever and giving with, trying to get everyone fed as much as possible in this last challenge, and then the other time is when she mucks up completely and fails to get them the peanut butter and jelly. She's going through people's bags, but then she's being very nice to other people. It's just a really odd dynamic. She definitely is in Nora's world, and it's sort of interesting. Well, that's it for me. Now, I'm not American, but I do want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Personally, I'm thankful for Survivor. I'm thankful for the SFP community, and most of all, I'm thankful for Joanne and Stacy and for all you guys do. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week. All right, goodbye.
All right, thank you. We're thankful for you, Kyle. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Nicola.
Hello, Survivor family. This is Nicola from Lexington. I don't have Jackson today, although he did actually watch the episode with me yesterday morning, Thanksgiving morning. We started the morning snuggled up in bed watching Survivor, and wow, what an episode it was. To watch. It's the first one he's watched in a little while, so it was a good one, even though the challenge was kind of short, and that's what he likes the best. But what an episode. Wow. I guess this is why we watch Survivor, right? Because that tribal was amazing. Hats off to Karishma, who's somehow also managed to keep her hair looking fabulous. Yeah, what a move. Wish she'd voted for Dan. Can understand why she didn't, but I actually got a vote off point. Yay! Thanks everybody for last week's suggestions. And thanks for everybody for hanging in there. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but it seems like we're getting back on track. It won't be a season that I rewatch, but hopefully the end game will be rewarding and Dan will go home soon. Loved the Island of the Idols this week. Lauren played it masterfully. I haven't been too fond of her in the game. She's playing a great game, kind of like Joanne. Anybody but Dan wins from this point, I'd be happy with it. I still really, really hope that a woman wins. And I will talk to you all later. Hope everybody had a good Turkey Day who celebrates, and whatever's going on in your life, I hope you have a fabulous, peaceful weekend with some love and chocolate, because we all need chocolate. All right, take care. Cheers.
This is love and chocolate, and y'all need chocolate. Not the love, huh? Okay. Good deal.
Chocolate is love.
Thanks, Nicola. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanna and Stacy, it was another good episode. Lauren got to show off her observational acumen, while Dean's clueless goatiness was on full display. As long as we don't wind up with Dan winning or an all-goat finale, I guess I'm on board. My other observations. It's a good thing Karishma never lifts a finger around camp. If she did, her armpit idol might have fallen out. Note to Tommy, just because you were on board the vote out Missy train, that doesn't make you the engineer. Exactly. Dean's too modest. Everybody knows it takes at least 3 goats to make an army. It's funny how Karishma keeps getting thwarted from making impactful moves that happen in front of her. Sandra may be the queen, but that chicken is an alpha. Rob's getting pushy. I never heard him give Lauren an opt-out choice. It didn't play out that way with the way they edited it. Lauren says Nora has the focus of a yogi. Would that be bear or Bera? That's good. Lauren and Tommy missed out on confessional gold. They could have called their caper Operation Bring Home the Bacon. Yes, that would have been perfect. A select few have gone home with 2 idols. Dean may become the first to go out playing the same fake advantage twice. This week's Survivor Life lesson, bacon is not a carb. The tribe should thank Nora for not sitting out. If she had breakfast, would have lasted 45 seconds. Talk about inappropriate touching. Jeff repaid Elaine's stolen peck on the cheek with a knock on the noggin. While the others ate breakfast, Karishma settled for a pity party. I don't think the TSA would hire Nora to do bag searches. With all of Dan's talk about trenches, I hope he didn't expose Karishma to trench foot in the hammock. Everyone was so worried about running out of gas that they forgot how damaging it can be to your race when a tire blows out. Lauren had a brain fog moment at Tribal. That's a normal Wednesday for me. Dan found out that the deepest trench can be filled by a hidden idol. I'm bum puzzled. Why weren't the original votes shown? Yes.
Exactly.
Next time, Nora's a Fruit Loop and it's time for the family visit. Will Dan's chickens come home to roost with his loved one present? Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. Quick call about this episode before we get going on our Saturday. It was a good one again. Kind of tamer than, the couple of weeks before, and honestly don't really have that much to say about it, but I still wanted to contribute because I would feel remiss if I didn't acknowledge that my USB is gone now. Of course, just like the first week right after the merge, that's how it often happens for me, but I kind of thought that Elizabeth had a lot more that she could have done and just throughout the game, but I guess we only see what we see. But I think that Elaine is a smart who Julie switched to also after she lost hers pretty early on, and I think that would be actually a pretty satisfying win at this point. I'm going to have to give the loser of the week to Elizabeth because she just couldn't get it together, and then, although, now I can't remember, I'm sure when I listen to the feedback, they'll be like, oh yeah, they were totally the loser of the week. So, but for now, I'm going to give it to Elizabeth for the obvious reason. But the winner of the week, I guess I have to give it to Charisma because she pulled off a couple of pretty good steps toward a finishing game. I don't know it can be a winning game, but I don't know that it can't either. I guess it just depends on who she's up against, and I don't know. I'm not the biggest Charisma fan. I mean, there are worse potential winners, but it is a very, very snowy weekend for us here, and we are excited to probably go out and get our Christmas tree. So I hope everyone here in the U.S. had a very happy Thanksgiving, and if you're not in the U.S., I hope you had a happy Thursday, and talk to you guys later. Have a great one. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Drew. Happy Thursday. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Well, back when the season began, I picked Elizabeth as my sole survivor. She was athletic and likable and gave good confessionals. And then almost immediately she seemed to fade from the scene. Missy and Aaron stepped up and played hard and strategized, and she took a back step to them. So when they were voted out and she said that she had no protection, again, I thought, wow, she really didn't work at moving outside of that core alliance. And it was telling that at Ponderosa, one of her comments was that she made it through 30 days without strategizing once. And again, that's not the way you're going to win Survivor. What I'd like to know is, in that vote, when 7 people voted for Karishma, who voted for Janet? Was it Karishma? And then that would mean Elizabeth had voted for Karishma. Then who voted for Elizabeth? Or did Karishma vote for Elizabeth and Elizabeth vote for Janet? I'd love to know that. Some observations. I love being in Nora land, but would not want to be with her on the island. On CBS All Access, there's a video that shows her trying to get bugs and slugs out of the drinking water. And at one point, she's practically falling into the and then she takes the slugs out and for some reason puts them on the rim of the well where I guess they could fall right back in. I just think she's hysterical. I also wondered who Elaine was talking about when she talked about her core group, because I remember when it was Missy, Aaron, and Elizabeth, and remember they were going to vote her out, but she had that steal a vote advantage. So Karishma and Dean are members of her old Lyra, so I guess she figures she's fitting in with the Vokai. And Dean, the goat herder, well, he played his fake advantage at 9, but I suspect he's going to be eliminated before he gets to play his fake advantage at 6. As Sandra said, well, then there were 8. And I have to say that seeing Aaron go, then Missy, and then Elizabeth, I was very pleased to see that. I'm hoping that soon Dan will be the next one out, and then I can root for any of the others. But I have to admit, I'm already excited about season 40. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Oh, all right. With an eye to the future. Thanks, David. Next up, we got an email from Hayden in Kansas.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and the other Survivor fans listening in. I thought this episode, while not as bad as the previous episodes of The Merge, was still a bit lackluster. The Elizabeth vote-off was very predictable, and Lauren throwing away her idol made me get really upset that all the scheming and build-up to getting the idol was for nothing. However, I did like the challenge, even if it was on the short side, and the funny moments that Charisma and Dean had. I don't understand what Dean's idea was with making a fake advantage out of another advantage, as he still doesn't know if Jamal's advantage is even real. Was it to make people think he played it and he doesn't have one anymore?
That's it, exactly.
Beats me. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Now, with only a few episodes left into the finale, I think that Lauren, Elaine, Janet, and Nora have the best chances to win. The men in this game are playing really lousily, besides Tommy, and with the women making all the big moves, I think we will have a woman winner. That's all I have to say, and I look forward to the next episode. Thanks again for the great podcast. All right, and thank you, Hayden. Up next, we have a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Park from Indiana. This episode was really fun. I mean, the vote seemed pretty straightforward. I had Elizabeth going, and when I get something right this season, you know, it was easy to predict. I got all my points this week, so I'm happy about that, especially because now I'm in the bottom of the side challenge. I mean, I'm not alone in the bottom, but I don't even want to be down there with other people. I did the singing once. It wasn't great. Nobody wants that again. I love Dean, guys. I honestly do. I think Dean is one of the funniest contestants we've had in a couple seasons. It's just this season has been bogged down. So much controversial stuff that we don't get time for Dean to shine. And Elaine, too. Like, both of them super funny, and I'm really enjoying both of them this season. And then Charisma plays her idol, and I did not honestly think that many people were going to vote for Charisma. Lauren completely wasted her idol, which as soon as she said something, I was like, wait, what? Before even the votes were read, I was, well, she just wasted that. Nobody was going, hey, guys, we gotta get out Lauren. I did not understand why she played her idol. We saw in this episode, her awareness of what's going on is really good. I feel like she just gets flustered and doesn't know what to do. She's really good at knowing what's going on with everybody, but she's not good with her own game. You know? I loved that Island of the Idols. That was so much fun. Of course, it's not as funny as other Island of the Idols segments we've had. I mean, Sandra got bitten by a chicken, so, you know, that made my night. I love when her and Rob bicker. It's so much fun. I think it was so good, the way they used the flashbacks. I don't need flashbacks of other famous Survivor players who played this game before that we've all seen. I don't need that kind of flashback, but this kind was really fun. I really like that. Of course, you know, we got that Ghost Island bit, but you know, that's fine, showing us what the challenge is. It's easier to just show us what it is than try to explain it. But yeah, I mean, she was dead on with who was gonna win that. This was the first time this whole season I've been rooting for Nora to win something, because Elizabeth has to get voted off tonight. I quite enjoyed this episode. It was a fun episode. Next time we got the loved ones visit. That's always fun. All right, that's all I got. I will see you guys next time.
Thanks, Parker. I think the Lauren playing her idol came down to this. She saw Charisma play one, and as far as Lauren knew, everybody was voting for Charisma. So that meant Charisma could very likely decide who was going to be voted out with a single vote. And she thought, I'm not willing to take that chance. I'm going to go ahead and play this. I've got it. I'm going to use it just to make sure. And she probably thought she didn't need it, but she didn't want to risk it. So I think that's why that was really the smart play, even though it looks like she threw it away or wasted it on some level. Thanks again, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. Camp Life at the beginning showed us the analytical Tommy versus the guns blazing Dean. I get the sides now, but you know what? Tommy's right. Never should you be so quick to link arms with someone, especially when Elizabeth just wrote his name down. Island of the Idols this week was quite a bomb in my opinion. First off, Boston Rob cannot read lines for his life. Him explaining the rules of the challenge to Lauren sounded like a 1940s D-list actor trying his best. Second off, Nora and Elizabeth were fair bets, but man, the odds were not in Lauren's favor. I would definitely not have taken it, and honestly, I'm surprised Boston Rob did not give her crap for it either. Man, poor Dean. Fake idols and advantages are fun in games when they're made for the game itself, but now Dean's got something that could really potentially hurt his game at the cost of Boston Rob and Sandra getting TV time. Therapist Jeff had to check in this week when Karishma admitted herself as a sore loser. Somehow, with as terrible odds as it had, Lauren won the challenge. I definitely think between hearing what it was and hearing about the breakfast, Lauren was well able to socialize that to her advantage, such as convince the certain people to or to not compete based on convincing them they can't hang in there, or that they could just really use some breakfast. A very idle-tastic tribal council this time. 3 out of my 4 safe picks stood up to play in idle this tribal. Granted, Dean's was phony, but hey, he was safe either way. Furthermore, 3 weeks of vote-out points in a row for me. Granted, saying Karishma was safe this week may have not been the smartest choice I've made, but hey, it paid off. I liked Elizabeth a good amount up until her goof with Missy, which even still didn't necessarily make me hate her at all. She was a solid strategist, but a good move on Dan for throwing one rogue vote over toward Elizabeth. That would have been disastrous if they completely united to vote against Karishma, and Janet wound up going. Next time on Survivor, the long-anticipated family visit, the moment we've all been waiting for. How will Karishma treat her husband? We'll have to wait and see. So one question I still had was, how does Dean know now that the one Jamal gave him is not fake? Because, I mean, clearly the one he painted on that was fake, and Jeff said it's fake. But how does he know the pencil one by Jamal? How does he know that's not fake now? Does he know it's fake? Does he think it's real? That's something I want to know. And I think I'm finally at a crossroads where I don't know who goes next week, genuinely. I mean, these past couple weeks I've been able to, I got 3 vote-out points in a row, between Jamal and Aaron and Elizabeth. Next week, I don't know. It'll be interesting. All right, the season's wrapping up pretty nicely. It's been a ride, more than I expected, but hey, that's Survivor for you. All right, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans, look forward to it.
Thanks, Cameron. I think Slappy's got an answer for you. Let's check in with Slappy.
Hello, Joanna Stacy. This is Slappy McGee. Elizabeth is gone. Thank goodness. That was good to see because Missy got her karma and Elizabeth got hers, and hopefully Dan will go next. It's kind of wrong that Dan is still there, but I had him going this week, actually, and I missed that. But hopefully he will go next because all 3 of them deserve to be gone, especially Missy and Elizabeth for their despicable behavior, and Dan for the way he treated Kelly. So hopefully that will take care of itself. As for the episode itself, I thought it was a pretty good episode overall. A lot of strategies going back and forth, even with the trip there to the Island of the Idols, which I still am not a big fan of. I still liked this episode, I think, a good bit. The interesting thing about Dean and his legacy advantage and the fake one that he made, and I don't think you guys mentioned this on your podcast, but I thought it was kind of clever of him, but only if he was using it to get a read on Jamal. Because by giving the fake one to Jeff, he could have, and then Jeff saying this is not a real one, he could have looked over at Jamal and see Jamal's reaction, because if Jamal had it really been real, and Jamal had given a real one, and then Jeff would have said it was fake, Jamal would have had a shocked surprise because it was a real one if it had been real, and Dan would have been able to read that shock on Jamal's face. But by Jamal not showing any emotion and being, oh yeah, it's fake, of course I know it's fake, then Dean should now know that his legacy advantage that he has is fake because of Jamal's reaction of non-surprise. I don't know, we'll see. They didn't show us that particular reaction. So I wonder if Dean was that smart to play that. I thought that's kind of why he was playing it in a way. I mean, he said the other reason, but I think had he been smart, he would have been able to figure out whether or not his legacy was actually true or not from Jamal's reaction. Hopefully now he knows that it is also false. But we'll see. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I was just thinking that, going, oh, that was kind of clever. And then I was like, I wonder if he actually meant that or not, if he actually took the time to notice Jamal. It did show him looking over Jamal, so we'll see. All right, that's about all I have to add to this. Yeah, I fell back a couple of points to you, Stacy, but I'm still coming for you. Oh, boy. It's a long journey. It's a long journey in this JSFL. My goodness. But at least I'm not last. That's what we play for, right? Not to be last. Or do we play to win? I don't know. Thanks, guys, for all you do. Appreciate the show. Looking forward to everyone's feedback. And slap you out.
Yeah, winning's bonus. Not to be last is a win. That's how it works in the side challenge. Thanks, Slappy. I enjoyed hearing that theory about how Dean could have used that. It's not entirely clear if he did, huh?
The real question is, did Jeff know it was a fake of the fake?
Well, again, he gets prepped on everything, so supposedly that's what he tells Dalton Ross, that the production crew's always keeping him up to date about what's going on.
They let him know about him writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up, we got an email from Randy in Seattle. Hi, Joanna and Stacy. It's been great getting caught up with Survivor and this great podcast community after traveling the U.S. desert Southwest on a hiking and backpacking trip the last 3 weeks. So grateful for the wonderful and compassionate commentary So happy with another great episode. Warning, self-congratulatory statements follow. I must like the underdog stories, as I was so happy with last week's 6-point JSFL because as Missy and Aaron were sent home. This week was even better as Karishma finds and successfully plays her idol, sending Elizabeth home and adding another 5 points. Don't know if I'll get another vote-off point this season, so I'll have to bask in the sun while I can. It's clear to us as viewers that Dan is the goatiest goat and Dean the least aware goat. Karishma and Nora both increase their resumes but remain at risk as easy vote-outs. Tommy and Lauren are a powerful duo who may not be targeted since Janet, Dan, and Elaine seem aligned together with them. It will be hard not to predict Karishma going home next week, but have to think that this cast will further surprise us and shake things up once more. Maybe this is the week Lauren will fall for flying too close to the Tommy sun, and we all find ourselves living in Nora world. Thanks again for all you do, and thanks to the fantastic, caring, and insightful feedback from the listeners. Thank you, Randy. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. It's Jeremiah here with some feedback for this week. I think it was another solid episode. I feel like maybe we're finally getting back a little bit to regular Survivor. I hope so. A lot of us are still dealing with the fact, of course, that Dan is still in the game. Get this bad feeling Dan's going to be in the game all the way to the end, guys. That's the one thing I'm not happy about. But yeah, I feel like we're starting to get the pack, at least for myself, to move forward through all this. I really enjoyed this episode. It's very entertaining. Even though Island of the Idols is dead to me, but I felt like this particular task was more on par. I thought the example of persuasion was much better with this, I thought. So I kind of like this task a lot better. Like I said, most of it's been misses, but sometimes there's hits. I understand what they're trying to do with this whole twist, but still don't necessarily love it, but whatever. I thought this week was much better. And then Karishma? What's going on, you guys? Last week she finds idol, and this week she correctly plays the idol. I know she has been edited in such a way of somebody we see that is probably not a winner, but is that another thing that the editors are going to get over us? Is she going to win this season? I still don't think she is, but I do wonder if maybe in a season that we've discussed before about being so unpredictable, that maybe the way to finish that off is to have someone like Karishma win the game, right? I don't know. It's something that we can put a pin on, but it's very possible. I mean, I'd still say that either Elaine, Tommy, or Lauren at this point is going to win, but you never know. This has been a crazy, structured season, so we'll find out, right? For now, I'm picking her to go home next week, but we'll see. But that's pretty much it for me, guys. I mainly wanted to get on here, with Thanksgiving being here in the States, I wanted to tell everybody what I'm thankful for, and that is this game and this show. I know that right now we've been disappointed with the actions of the production and some of the players this season, but that's what happens when you get human beings involved. Errors can happen. But this show has given me so many years of entertainment and I've gotten so much out of it. I am very grateful for Survivor. Another reason why I'm grateful for it is because of wonderful communities like this. Joanne and Stacy, you guys have meant so much to me over the years. I've been listening to you for so much. I feel like you're part of my family. I love each and every one of the community people in this community. Survivor, I have got more friends have come from this show than anything else. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the podcast. Your guys' podcast, Rob's podcast. I've made so many great long-time friends because of the show. And that is what I'm grateful for this year, is Survivor, this podcast, this community, all the Survivor community. We have a lot of great people in here. So I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, that's it for me. You guys take care. And until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
All right. Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Well, 8 are left, 4 goats, and 4 potential winners. I think that Tommy, Janet, and Elaine, if they get to the end, they all 3 have a great shot at the win. I also think that Lauren has a good shot, but I think she needs to take 2 goats with her. I think that she, having been a part of that whole using Dan to further their game situation, is going to hurt her a little bit if the other 3 get there, or one of the other 3 gets there. I think that Dean, Karishma, Nora, and Dan have no chance if they get there, unless they get there together. And none of us wants to think of that possibility. Boy, I can't help but think that this season is really going to go down as one of the biggest duds in all 40 seasons. And we've had some doozies, but I think that this one's going to be right up there competing for the bottom. I mean, that immunity challenge where Jeff unveils breakfast with all the fixins and nobody does anything, nobody reacts. That was really awkward. It was just so awkward how he just stood there and said, "Oh, nobody's excited?" Come on, Jeff, you know why nobody's excited. And come on, editors, you know that's not going to be real exciting TV. I hated that part. They could have just completely omitted that part from the show, and I don't think we would have missed it at all. Giving credit to Lauren where it's due, getting everybody but 3 people to sit out of this challenge was a major, major accomplishment. And speaking of the immunity challenge, I'm going to go back and say that there are 5 potential winners here. I'm not going to rule Nora out in terms of her being a possible winner. You know, she may be kooky, but she's been a positive person this whole time. I mean, if she gets to the end, she might not have made as many strong friendships, but I don't think she's made many enemies. So, Nora, you're still in the running. Karishma pulled off a great play, playing her idol correctly. And if she gets to the end, that's going to be a good resume bullet point for her. I don't think she'll win, but she's at least built a small resume. I'm still pulling for Janet. I'm a little bummed that I didn't pick Elaine for my new USB. I'm really liking watching Elaine still. And we have Family Visit coming up, my favorite episode. I love that episode. I love seeing everybody so happy when they see their loved ones. And I'm going to get to share watching it with a whole bunch of other Survivor fans. I'm going to be at the Improv in Brea watching it. It's going to be really fun watching with a bunch of Survivor fans there. And then watching Rob Sesternito do his show afterwards. So I'm really excited. My husband agreed to go with me, so we're going to go and experience all of that. I'm just a little bummed that I'm not going to be able to watch that live with my kids. I couldn't get them in there because they're under 18, so I don't usually watch the show twice, but I guess this week I'm going to. And it's a Loved Ones Visit. I get to watch a Loved Ones Visit episode twice. Let's hope there's nothing controversial that happens. I don't like that stuff. Anyway, that's it for me. Till next week. Bye.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
Jen.
Have a great time.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. So then, Karishma. Honestly, still not a fan. I think Nora had almost as much to do with Karishma's idol play as Karishma herself. I'm willing to give her a little more credit if I see her looking for a second idol after playing this one, but you know what? I'm betting that she'll be busy resting on her laurel. And then there's Neurotic Nora, who I'm really warming up to. Not to the point where I think she can win, but where I enjoy watching her. She's unpredictable, she's got those wild faces, and she's making me smile now. Also, I don't believe that she'll have as big a target on her back as Stacy thinks, because although this is her second immunity win, most of our players believe it was more or less handed to her since she only competed against 2 other people. I still think that she might have won had everyone else gone up against her, but the fact that everyone was eating might very well distract them from that. It's almost as though this win was given to her. And that's one reason I'm still leaning towards Karishma to go next. But there are so many other reasons for my thinking that she'll stay. Why waste time on her when she actually is the ultimate GOAT? She's such a GOAT, I don't think anyone there will give her near enough credit for her idol play. Even I don't see these past 2 tribals as huge wins for her. They're not feathers, they're just, well, survival. And we only have 3 men left, and honestly, as much as I like Tommy, he's playing just as passively as Dean or Dan. Last week I said that I felt wishy-washy about my new USB pick, but Lauren is looking up again. But it does scare me that she hangs around with Tommy so much. Her target is getting bigger, but is it big enough to overshadow Karishma? Maybe so. Right now, I see Lauren as my favorite choice for the win. After that, I'd love it to be Janet. Which brings me to, where are the puzzles? I need to see some brain action at this point, because we all know where our players stand when it comes down to strength and stamina. Oh, and speaking of brain action, yeah, Dean's fake immunity play was a great idea. I've got to hand it to him. But on the other hand, I do believe that his gameplay just peaked with him saving his fake immunity for a Tribal 6 disappointment. I hope he was paying attention to Jamal's face when Jeff said it wasn't real, because that would have told Dean exactly what he needed to know about it. So anyway, yeah, I want more puzzles for immunity, and I'm fully behind my USB now. Next to go, well, if it's a choice, I think this time we'll see Karishma jump at the chance to go to Island of Idols. They may just have to draw rocks, because I don't think anyone will allow her to go. Next to leave the game, I might have just talked myself away from Karishma and more towards Lauren or Tommy. A bummer to me either way, but Lauren having played an idol puts her in danger now. Lastly, I wish they showed the first vote results. The last one was obvious and didn't need explaining, but now there's some mystery in the air, I guess. And I guess that's it for me as well. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Have you read any of the Elizabeth interviews or
No.
to see if she said who she voted for?
Didn't really seek any of that out.
Oh, okay.
My disinterest was strong, but I'll look for the links and include them if I find them.
Okay.
I still think if you look at this week, a little contrary to what Paul was saying, if you look at this past week's episode where they were so eager to get rid of Karishma, in spite of all these other better targets, and then her pulling this off, I think they're just going to double down on wanting to get rid of her in response to that. Right now, my thoughts leaning right
too.
back at her. They're going to want even more to get rid of that. And that's what she needs. She can go finish the rest of her experience at Ponderosa.
Well, I rebelled against Elizabeth being too simple and didn't get that point. So I am leaning toward Karishma still.
Yeah. Because
it feels obvious that there's so many people.
They need to finish what they started, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they will.
Nope. No, things can change for sure. The other thing I was thinking as I was listening to some of the feedback we were going through here was I kind of expected Elaine and Janet to be buddies, and I was looking forward to seeing them team up, and we've gotten zero on that, haven't we? Yeah. There's an extra video where I think she put on some of Janet's clothes or something like that, Elaine did. There's a couple of funny extra videos, like the folks who said they were enjoying Nora. There was the one that David talked about where she's in the well, and there's an extra video with Elaine goofing around and getting to see how entertaining she is just in general in camp. And then there was another one with Dean, if like Parker, you're enjoying how goofy and funny Dean is. There's another one with him explaining his chillin' philosophy. So good stuff. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, not really. I think we gave our next vote off.
Yeah, still leaning toward Karishma.
Unless we change our mind
I
again.
gotta let everything settle.
Digest.
Yeah, from the listener feedback show here. But that's the impression, the strongest impression I have right now. They're gonna want to finish that. Okay, we want to thank everybody who took the time to send in your thoughts and predictions during this busy holiday weekend here in the States. Thank you for that. Also, big thanks to Scott, Hazel, and David for your donations. We greatly, greatly appreciate your support there. It goes a long way.
And if you play JSFL, don't forget to get your picks in before the deadline of 7:30 Eastern and 4:30 Pacific time on Wednesdays. Good luck, everybody.
Have a good one.